If we were to move to Orange County, California in 2025, this is what we'd do. These are the steps we'd take. These are the things that we'd look at first. So let's get started. So here we are in Orange County, California, and if I were going to move here in 2025, the first thing that I would do is figure out where do I have to be every day on a day-to-day basis, whether that's, work, schools, family, whatever it is, whatever your reason for coming out here is, and then what is your tolerance for driving? Because, that would make where you're going to live a little bit different. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, and just so you know, I guess before we even start the driving part, is that yes, you will be driving, most likely because mass transit, we've made strides over the years, but we are woefully short on that front compared to other big metropolitan areas throughout the world. So count on using a car.
Yeah, so we're just going to go through kind of like the major points of interest, starting with employment centers, because that's a big reason why people move out here. And then you got to figure out, where do you want to live and how close do you need to be to these places. And then we're talking about employment centers now. In a little bit, we'll talk about where like the major hospital and medical centers are, because that could be a little bit different. And if you are moving out here for a job in the healthcare industry, or perhaps, you just want to be close to a certain hospital, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so kind of like the major employment centers is, all of Irvine, and specifically like right here is a big one by the airport, which is kind of like the airport area, which is in Irvine, Costa Mesa, and Santa Ana.
And Newport.
Yeah, so that's like a bunch of different cities meshed together right there. And then you've got Newport Center, like right around here. You've got Santa Ana, like downtown Santa Ana. That is the seat of Orange County. And then you've got Anaheim right here. That is another big employment hub. And then, of course, you have Los Angeles.
County in general,
wherever, your particular job is. There's huge amounts of places.
Yeah, so. Case in point, just next door in Long Beach, you have the two biggest ports in the entire country are right there, the port of Long Beach and the port of LA. And of course, LA in general has a ton. City of Industry, if you're going up north, just going straight north, or if you're going to Riverside, like going to Inland Empire, you're going east. So yeah, so it's obviously we're nicely situated, but within Orange County, it's like, okay, well, what makes the most sense for you? Because obviously that is a tolerance thing as far as, okay, what's your tolerance to traffic? Because definitely there are some freeways that have more traffic than others. And as well as not just tolerance to traffic, but okay, are you fine with toll roads? That is a way to alleviate some of the traffic, but it will come at a cost, of course. And then also just what is, like how long of a time period are you fine with being in the car? Because everyone is different, right? Some people, 15 minutes is a limit. Some people is an hour plus. And so where are you in that, in that spectrum?
Yeah, so we know someone that lives in like the San Juan Capistrano area, which is right here, which is pretty far south. And he commutes every day up into like the South Coast metro area. Like to me personally, that's too far. Like I don't want to do that. But he doesn't care. Like he seems to like it. He likes audiobooks. It doesn't bother him. So it really just depends on your what you can tolerate, like Sean was saying.
So before we continue, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Sean Dazad.
And I'm Courtney Dazad.
And we're licensed realtors here in the state of California. And if you're watching this channel, you might be thinking, wow, Sean, I love Orange County. I love the Pacific Ocean. I love the blue skies. I love the perfect weather. I can't wait to move here. Now, the problem is I'm not local, and maybe out of state, and maybe even out of the country, so I don't know what to do. I totally get that. That's when you reach out to us. We can have that conversation. We can be your boots on the ground, finding out specifically what you're looking for, and we can give you tours of the homes as well as the neighborhoods, really giving you a good sense of what's out there. So when you do come out here, your time is spent super efficiently. So what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us, or you can use WhatsApp if you're outside the country. And then do you want to start with maybe some of the north ones like Anaheim and then like all of Los Angeles County? Like where are some of the popular places that people tend to live? Because again, like everyone's different, but for me personally, like South County, I love South County. It's absolutely fantastic. But if I were working like here, I would not want to live in South County. That's me. That's me. That's a lot of driving.
Yeah, and actually, one other thing I was going to bring up before you even go there is that obviously, too, like how's the traffic flow? Because obviously, like you can, depending on which way you're going. It's funny, actually. I have a client that bought a property in northern Orange County, and so basically every so often, I also have a client that I was talking to just the other day, actually, and every so often he has to work in Riverside, and so he lives in North Orange County. And what's interesting is that Riverside's right over here, right? North Orange County, like let's say just lives in this vicinity. So the 91 freeway is typically horrible.
Yeah.
But he's going this way in the morning
Yeah,
and
that's
this
true.
way in the evening.
Yeah.
So he is going just passing by, just
Yeah.
enjoying life. Because if you're going the opposite flow,
Yeah.
brutal. It is really tough. So it kind of depending on which way you're going,
That is true.
you can actually save a ton of time. In fact, actually, when we used to live in Carlsbad,
Yeah.
and I would commute to Orange County. So Carlsbad's down this way.
Yeah,
So
it's
past
in
all this
San Diego
nothingness
County.
here.
Yeah.
So basically, my commute was literally 55 miles each way. But because of actually just the way the traffic flowed, my time frame actually on road was about an hour or so each way, which, again, not that I wanted to be driving an hour each way, but when you think about 55 miles in Southern California, good luck. I mean, it's going to be brutal. Now,
Yeah.
in fact, Courtney was going the opposite direction. She was even going further south in Carlsbad, with like less than half the distance, and where our commute time was almost identical. It was pretty crazy just because of, again, that's just how the traffic dynamics are here.
Yeah.
Okay, and then obviously if you're actually, let's say, going to be, let's say, working in Los Angeles, right, like Los Angeles County, what's really popular actually for a lot of people is kind of this northern border of Orange County. I would say that that's pretty, like this whole area right here. So there's a ton of cities, obviously. Surprisingly, Huntington Beach is a really nice pocket because you have a few different ways to get to Los Angeles from there. So because you can take Pacific Coast Highway, or you could just take Beach Boulevard to the 22, the 405, 605. So you have a ton of different ways to actually get to North Orange County. In fact, I know people that live in Huntington Beach that would rather live in Huntington Beach than, let's say, Newport, because Newport, you still have all this traffic you have to go through to get that. And Newport Beach is right here. And even though it's next door, people would just rather be in Huntington Beach. Or, again, Fullerton's super popular. Yorba Linda's really popular. Brea's popular. These are all, again, nice northern Orange County, north/western Orange County cities that, again, you can still live in the orange bubble, but you can obviously still be fairly close proximity to work if you're in LA.
And then for anyone who's working in kind of like the Irvine area, and then I kind of like put in South Coast Metro, Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, because it's all like
in the
very.
Airport, yeah.
This is very close. All this stuff is like really close to each other.
If you look really closely, it doesn't look like the center of Orange County geographically speaking. Shocking how that works.
It does. So yeah, like this is what we call South County. It's very popular, for people that are working in this area, as well as, those cities that are just like in the area, right?
Yeah.
Like central Orange County. But the reason why I'm pointing out South County is because Irvine is kind of known as like the king of South County. It's like all the master plan communities, and then South County sort of like just took that and rolled with it. So if you like the flavor of Irvine, South County could be an option for you in terms of a place to live.
I have certainly recommended several South County cities to people that initially reached out to Irvine, because we've actually had a lot of people obviously reaching out about Irvine. Irvine has got worldwide notoriety, and it's great, but there are options, and South County actually has a lot of like some similarities for sure.
Yeah.
So we talked about the employment centers, right, and like kind of where you want to be. Really, LA as a general whole, you kind of want to be in general north/western side of Orange County.
Yeah, and the reason why Sean put Huntington Beach, even though it's farther south, is because you do have the one here that kind of like makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great way to connect to all the other freeways that are just past the Orange County border.
Yeah.
And so yeah, LA we kind of got handled like you said, like a ton of stuff. Employment centers are clustered in central Orange County where Irvine is. Mm-hmm. And so from there, it's actually a relatively short commute to get to the rest of Orange County, because again, it is the main job hubs are so centrally located. So obviously, so we talked about jobs, right? So, and that can apply to not just jobs as far as, okay, another important thing is, let's say, do you have family or friends that you're wanting to be, close to and, be around, that you want to obviously take that into account, of course, as well. And then another big thing is actually the universities here in Orange County. So Orange County, we have a couple of really highly rated universities.
And huge ones, too.
Yeah, and big ones, yeah. And a lot of junior colleges as well. So we have private universities, we have public universities. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a top-tier university, University of California, Irvine, which is that one.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, is obviously, again, it's a top-tier ranked school. So I think it's the last I saw, it's like in the low 40s as far as its ranking between public and private throughout the entire country. So it's rated really highly. Cal State Fullerton is obviously rated really well as well. And then you have, like Chapman University. You have a bunch of other
in, like,
orange, yeah.
Like it's right here.
It might be even a little lower, like down here, but whatever.
Yeah,
We're in the vicinity, and then tons of junior colleges, and our junior colleges actually are rated really well here too, really highly. So that is another thing to consider. A lot of people take that route for sure to obviously save on some costs.
Well, and then also it's just employment centers, right? Like Cal State Fullerton, huge employment center.
Oh yeah, if you're a professor, yeah.
UC Irvine, huge employment center.
Oh, and again, the JCs as well, junior colleges, they're big employment centers as well.
Yeah, and then there's tons of students. Like I think UC Irvine has about 30,000. I think Fullerton like 40,000. So they're huge. Like they're huge universities.
And our junior colleges are massive as well.
They are.
Yeah, like Orange Coast College and Saddleback, and yeah, there's tons. Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about like the really big medical centers. I mean, obviously every city has, urgent cares, hospitals, that kind of stuff. But we're talking about like the big giant ones. So if you are going to have a job at there, or maybe you just want to be close to one of these for whatever medical reason that you have, like let's talk about like the bigger ones.
Okay, yeah. So basically, if you're looking at medical centers themselves, we have lots of hospitals. So we have a plethora of hospitals here. So it's pretty crazy how many we have. And so which is nice because obviously if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, or if you obviously need to be kind of in fairly close proximity as a patient, you have a lot of options. So I would say one of them is really big is like, let's say Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach. It's, I would say, the highest rated hospital, I would say. And that's in the vicinity of right around here. We'll just kind of give a big broad spot. So Hoag Hospital is really highly rated. You actually have a secondary Hoag Hospital in Irvine right over here, and a Kaiser Permanente.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, that's a big hospital. Like, there's tons of medical right there.
Lots of Kaisers, actually. There's another Kaiser in South Coast Metro area, too, like right around here. And then the city of Orange, you just have this huge cluster of hospitals like that are right there. Yeah. And then South County, you have a lot as well, like in Mission Viejo. So right around here is Providence, I believe. Okay, so Saddleback Hospital is right around here. Also, you have Chalk, right?
That's in Orange.
In Orange, so that's pretty big, like children's hospital as well. And again, there are a ton. I mean, we're just kind of scratching the surface.
The ones when you drive by and it's like tons of buildings, like higher buildings, which is unusual for Orange County. You have so these are like the big ones.
Yeah, and and we get reach outs from people, like from doctors all the time that, let's say they're actually working multiple hospitals, so they need to be in fairly close proximity to several of them. Again, it's pretty easy. Like throughout the entire county, there are a ton of options, actually.
For sure. So if you're coming to Orange County with a family, you might be interested in schools. You've probably heard of the famous Irvine Unified School District, which, goes without saying.
Is that highly rated? I'm not familiar.
It's very highly rated. But one thing we always like to say about Orange County is that, no matter where you are in the county, you're going to have the option for a highly ranked school. And I'm just using this as an example. So this was an article. It's pretty old now, but I mean, the rankings don't drastically change over the years. But basically, Orange County high schools rank among the nation's best in the U.S. And I just wanted to show they're from all over the place. Like Anaheim, of course, this one you have to get selected to go in here, so you can't just live there. This one also you have to get selected, but this one is just regular. That's in Fullerton. This is in Irvine. Lots of Irvine, as you can see. This one's Tustin, but I mean you can see it's everywhere, like Garden Grove, Huntington, Los Alamitos, Placentia, Yorba Linda. So and then Capistrano. As you can see, I'm just showing you all these different, places. So it's there's a lot of options. And one actual nifty thing about niche.com is, so this is the Capistrano Unified School District. Like, for example, let's say you're wanting to be in South County. So that's like basically this is Capistrano. I mean, very, very horribly drawn. It's probably more like this.
Yeah, because also Lake Forest is not.
Forest, this is more Saddleback. But regardless, so you can go on niche.com, and it's really nice. You can just scroll down, and you can see they give you a map of all the schools and all their rankings. So you can see that there's a lot of good options wherever you are. And one nice thing about lots of different school districts, including Capistrano, is that you don't necessarily have to go to the school that you're zoned for. Again, it's not a guaranteed, but there's a lot of charter schools that are very popular. There's lots of ways to get into schools you're not zoned for. So it's unlike Irvine Unified, which it's whatever you're zoned for, that's where you're going. So
yeah, and every school district is different as far as how how firm they are with their policy as far as like where you're zoned for is where you're going to be.
Yeah. Now let's talk about some of the areas in Orange County that are like quote older, and Sean will explain when we talk about old, because we are on the West Coast. There's not much that's old on the West Coast, especially if you're from not the United States. So we have a vastly different definition of old,
Yes.
as well as what's also interesting about Orange County is there isn't much really new. There isn't much new construction. So you want to talk about like the old and the new. Where we want to start with the new, like where are some of the areas, the limited areas where you can get new construction?
Yeah, because so this is like how you're talking about like so coastal California is different than a lot of other even West Coast or honestly a lot of other areas around the country where there's not a ton of new. So like you have to reset your perspective as far as what you want, because new is kind of honestly, I'd say like year built 2000 and newer is kind of what we consider new, where a lot of other places that's kind of ancient. That's like getting old, right? If it's like these newer like cities that are just springing up all over the country, or like the huge expansion of these cities. So as far as like new like stuff that's actually being built as we speak, like Rancho Mission Viejo right around here is like, one of the new pockets that is being built in mass, and we're not talking about like one-off developments, right? We're talking about like good-sized developments. And in the Great Park area, even that is starting to kind of get built out,
yeah.
Basically. Now you're going to like Portola Springs has some options out here, Baker Ranch and Lake Forest. Okay, so Portola Hills over here. So you have pockets, but they're not massive. I mean, and they're really a drop in the bucket as far as the general home turnover. Like I know like last we saw, like as far as data was concerned, that about 33, like one out of every 3 properties being sold in the United States is a new construction home. That is not the case here. Like new construction homes, it's a drop in the bucket. It makes really no difference as far as inventory that's for sale here on any given time compared to the rest of the market that's over here, because it's really hard to set up a brand new development in coastal California.
Yeah, there's just not new land left. It's all built out.
Yeah, and that too. So that's kind of like your general new construction. And again, of course, they vary in different size and all that other stuff, but that's kind of really where you're seeing your pockets. Now, there are some smaller developments, let's say in Yorba Linda over here, but again, these are pretty small. Like I'm talking about, these are the ones that we kind of highlighted, the ones that are really the more in mass developments. And again, they're not huge to begin with anyway.
And then obviously also the newer homes, you might have to deal with mellow roofs, right?
Great point. Yes. So mellow roofs is what, if you don't know what that is. So California, we obviously have our typical property tax rate. I would say in general in Orange County, your typical baseline tax rate is about 1.1% of the assessed value of the home, which is usually set at about the time when you purchase the property. Because of Proposition 13, we can't go up more than, the assessed value can't go up more than 2% per year. And that's even in years where we've seen 20% spikes in prices, right? So some people that have owned their homes for decades, their property taxes are much, much lower than what they ought to be if they were just reset at current market values. So about 1.1% is the general property tax rate. And then if you're in a new development, anything built beyond 2000 may or may not have mellow roofs. And so one, it may or may not have it, which is an additional tack on to property taxes, and that's to fund new infrastructure, new roads, new schools, fire departments, like that kind of stuff. And so you have that, but then on top of it, it also varies even with mellow roofs. It varies as far as one, how long it's going to be on the books for, because it's not perpetual, it doesn't last forever, but it may, how close are you to being falling off the books? Like if it's a property that's built in about 2000, it may be about to fall off altogether. And if it's built obviously right now, it may be going on for another 40 years. So it just kind of really depends. And on top of that, what is that rate of mellow roofs? Because depending on where you are, what the development actually is, it can have a wide variety of different like rates as far as what that mellow roofs is, where you could, for instance, in Rancho Mission Viejo, you could be close to 1.9% of the assessed value of the property, which is just obviously much higher than, let's say, your typical property tax rate, almost double.
And then, you might want to have some, a historic home or an older home. Like, generally speaking, Orange County, old is like 1950s.
Now, you could find some stuff like, really cute, like, let's say, downtown Fullerton, downtown Orange.
This is very limited, though. So, Fullerton is a
Fullerton,
possibility.
Orange area.
Like Santa Ana
Tustin has a little bit going on.
Yeah, Tustin. Santa Ana has a little.
Santa Ana has a little.
That's kind of it.
I'm like, Anaheim might have some stuff.
Yeah,
but
so these are the cities that chose not to destroy certain
those
properties.
downtowns, yeah, seriously. And again, when we're talking about historic even, we're talking still
like
mostly
1900.
Yeah, exactly.
1900, yeah.
1900, 1920s kind of
Yeah.
thing. And again,
Very
it's not
limited.
much of
Yeah,
the market, like because we became subdivision, like
Yeah.
housing tract central in the 1950s, and so the vast majority of the stuff that's in Orange County, like in the northern Orange County stuff, most of the stuff's built 1950s on,
Yeah.
and then so North Orange County is like this area right around here, and again 1950s on. So again, well beyond the 1950s, but like more or less in mass, it started in the 1950s. South County, it started a lot more in the 1970s on, and as well as Irvine for the most part. And then so the beach shacks, it's all over the place, but a lot of those have been, because they're such valuable land, they've just been demoed to build a McMansion.
If somebody buys a beach shack, they just tear it down, and then because they're buying it for it's the land value.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'll see like the old school beach shack right next to just a 5,000. I mean, like just a massive. Because again, that land is really expensive. And remember, we are licensed realtors here in the state of California. So as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is when you give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us, or you can use WhatsApp if you're outside the country.